What have you broken in the past? Breakage isn't always bad. In fact, breaking things, including yourself, is completely okay when the experience leads to something better. This is How I Broke That.
For part 3 of our Delbert McClinton interview series, we're getting personal. And by we, I mean me, about a scary incident of major breakage in my life that Delbert was a part of. Getting back to Delbert, in this episode, we talk about divorce-related broken hearts to literal open heart surgery. This man has gone through it all. Let's wrap up our learning by hearing how he took these experiences of breakage and he built back better, as well as a few tips to help you do the same in your business and personal life.
Welcome to How I Broke That.
Let me ask you a question. Was the pleasure worth the pain?
Oh, hell yeah.
That's my favorite line
yeah.
in one of your songs. The pleasure was worth the pain. I love that. I think that could be the slogan. You would have to, be okay with it, of course, for this podcast, for this show. Because for everybody we talk to, being an entrepreneur, starting a business, being passionate about something, there is as much pain as there is pleasure in pursuing that dream.
Well, when your ass is on the line, you're not looking to keep your ass on the line. You're looking to pass the line and do something that has never been done. That's always what I was thinking.
And
still is. I don't know, man. My whole life has been in pursuit of music. Anything else I did was simply as a means to an end.
And you and I talked about this. Stuff gets broken on the path to success. Let's talk about a few of those things. Your body. Body took a beating.
Well, I didn't drink. All those years, I was not a drinker. I took pills like every other strong-hearted rock and roller would do. You could go to the drugstore. I'd go to a black drugstore there, and a bank robber turned me onto this place. An acquaintance of mine in the beer joints. I knew every pimp and whore and outlaw and thief in town.
I believe he said bank robber, but all good.
Well, he says, come on, go with me. We'll go over and get some bank robbing pills. And after I had a couple of them, I knew why they called them bank robbing pills, because it turned you into God. You could do anything, or that was the way I perceived it. Benzodrine, you could get Benzodrine and Dexedrine. I had a bouncer at one of the after hours club I played. He used to make regular runs to Mexico where you could buy them. Just go in there and buy them, sealed, 25 jars, about 25 piece jars of 5 milligram Dexedrine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dexedrine will get your motor running, and if you do it too much, it make your jaw start doing this all the time and just turn you into an idiot. But for a little while, it could turn you into the guy that can do anything.
But not forever.
Not forever. And I learned that because I did it too long. And I take the pills and it'll go right past the feel good to the wanting to tear my head off and shit in my neck.
Okay.
That kind of angst and just, like a wire. And that's when they became not fun.
Okay. So another thing that broke along the way, potentially had to happen, was, was relationships. But let's get to the good part. Let's get to Wendy. Let's get to Saturday Night Live. Let's get to the
Okay.
1980s, baby.
I don't want to talk about. I had two marriages that went down the toilet.
Yeah.
But I finally got it right.
Yeah. Tell us all about it. Take us to Saturday Night Live. Wendy, the producer.
Yeah. Well, the
love of our lives.
The first time I went to play Saturday Night Live was when I had a hit song, kind of, sort of, not really, but good enough that I got on Saturday Night Live. And she was there with the guy she worked with. And I don't know how to say it any other way other than it was love at first sight. I saw her, and everything changed. And we had this affair for a few years. And all that time, I was married again and had another child. And that marriage was going down the tube. So I was dealing with all that. Finally, that came to a head, and we got a divorce. Or we separated at this time. And shortly after that, Wendy quit her job at NBC. She could be running the place by now.
She could run anything.
She could run anything. You're right. Anyway, she gave it all up and moved to Texas.
Be with you.
To be with me. And for the first time in my life, I felt worth something. Because she's worth a lot. And if she thinks I'm something, then I must be. Or if I'm not, I'm going to be with her help. And I did, and I am.
How important is it to entrepreneurs or people starting businesses or people who are chasing a dream to know their own self-worth? If you had known your self-worth, do you think you could have, had a different path, or did you have to go down this path to meet Wendy to get that self-worth, to get to where you were?
No, as far as I can look back, I've always known I could do this. Never doubted it. Never doubted it for a minute. Never thought, well, maybe I ought to try some kind of work or something. The worst thing, the worst sentence that I hate hearing is, you need to get a job. And I had a lot of jobs, but there were jobs that I always say a smart monkey could do them, delivery truck for a auto paint supply, shit like that. Drove a hot shot truck for a precision brake and clutch in Fort Worth, Texas. Shit like that, where I was not supervised. I'd ride around delivering shit all day and write songs.
Yeah. Yeah. Where are those songs?
Well, I've recorded several of them and stuff that nobody ever heard. And pieces of them leak into stuff that I write today still.
Yeah. So you're still writing today?
Oh, yeah. Not like I was before COVID. That really got my attention. But it doesn't diminish my love of the music. It's just, man, it's hard to write about something sweet and tender or emotional when everybody in the world around you is dropping dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I retired during COVID because I cannot imagine standing up on stage in front of 600 or 800 people, and before the show and after, people grabbing at you and wanting to hug you and shake your hand and just, I certainly don't want to do that now.
Right.
I've loved my career more than anything, but retiring when it came time was the easiest and the most wonderful thing I've ever done, I think. I'm
Oh,
not ever done, but I think I did it at the right time because a bit of the thrill is gone because of COVID. And if the thrill is gone, the thrill is gone.
so this might be the time to tell my little story about how I got to know you. And I'll tell you a sweet, tender story that doesn't start off nice. And I'll tell this to my audience, because not everybody knows this, but my family moved down here to San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, to try things out for a little while. And just after we got to Mexico, our house was broken into in the middle of the night. My wife and I were sleeping. Our daughter was downstairs. It was the most terrifying moment of our lives. I know people have had more terrifying moments, but we chased them out. It changed our lives. That's the low point of the story. It goes up from there. And that's when I was told by one of the wonderful people who lives here to call Wendy. And, Wendy, if anybody ever has watched The Goldbergs, the show, Wendy is absolutely Beverly Goldberg of the
She
world.
is.
She is, right?
She is, but she's sweeter.
She's so sweet. And so, but here, she wasn't so sweet in this phone call. I'll explain what happened. At least this is how I remember it. Wendy says, go see the house. This is the house we're in now. This is Delbert and Wendy's house. And I go and I'm like, holy shit, this place is unbelievable. And I called Wendy and I said, hey, this is an amazing house. And you have an amazing group of people who are helping you with this house. But I got to tell you, and there's something crawling across the screen, Delbert.
Yeah.
What the
Can you
hell
see
is
it?
that?
I don't know. I didn't want to thump him away because, hell, it wasn't bothering me.
It's not bothering
And I
me.
was trying to figure out what the hell it is.
That's okay. We can get through it. So Wendy says, well, you're going to move into our house because you're moving out of that other house. And I said, Wendy, it's too big. I said, this house is built for a 4-time Grammy winner and his beautiful wife. Probably not for me and my wife and my kid. She says, you're moving in. Long story short, we now live here. And so I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone at this point. I'm telling this story and thanking you and Wendy for your hospitality here. We really appreciate it. And, it was a lifesaver for us.
Well, it just seemed to be the easy, proper thing to do. We're not planning on going down there for a while, and you're there, and I think I'm proud of you for getting up and going there because it's a better life.
Yeah.
Regardless of the horrors of Mexico's cartels and yada yada yada, it ain't all that much fun right here in the States. I'm afraid to go out anywhere at night. I fear somebody just shoot me for fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, all this traveling we've done and talked about in Mexico and all these different places, at the end of the day, you kind of came back home a little bit with your record that's going to come out in May. And when I say came back home, it's because one of the songs that Wendy, told us to play is a Hank Williams song. I'm going to play it right now. Let's let it play a little bit. Tonight we're setting the woods on fire. You're my gal and So after all that, all of this wonderful career, 5 decades, come back home to Hank. Talk about Hank Williams and talk about this new record, please.
Yeah, well, Hank Williams is I want to say the man that invented music because he just about is, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as a lot of people are concerned. Hank Williams, there's never been another one, and there never will be. I'm quite sure. But I'm always a big Hank. I have wanted to record Hank Williams songs all my life. I've wanted to make a record of Hank Williams songs. Well, during COVID, uh, I had the good fortune out of all this horrible misfortune that most people went through. I had the good fortune of having Kevin McKendry and his son, Yates McKendry, who's 19. And Kevin, I've been working with Kevin for 20 years, and he's a musical genius. And his son is even geniusy than he is.
I'll take it.
Okay, so I had total access to them, and he's got a studio. Kevin's got a recording studio. So I started going out there, and I was talking to Kevin one day, and I said, I want to record some Hank Williams songs. And there's a guy here in town, the steel player that's on all that music that you got the CD or the final
I got it.
tracks. Uh, uh, I got to do what I wanted to do. And Kevin and Yates, his son, if it's not one of the Hank Williams songs that are on there, they're playing most of the instruments on every other tune: bass, drums, guitar, and piano. They're playing that on all the songs that aren't Hank Williams songs. The Hank Williams stuff, I found the guys here in town through friends of mine who know all the Hank Williams music and stuff better than Hank did, so to speak.
Cool.
I had never met any of these guys. Booked the session out at Kevin's. I came in out there. Everybody was masked. There were 4 guys, 5. There was bass player, rhythm player, fiddle player, and guitar player. And the guitar player played steel and the electric. And anyway, went in out there. We got those guys out there, and I walked. Can you see my bug here?
Not this time, but we're going to have to, I'll interview the bug next time for breaking through my interview here.
Yeah. Well, he's taking center stage. Anyway, where was I?
You're telling the story. Everybody's masked, and you guys get there for the recording studio.
Oh yeah, and I never met these guys. They were a whole different bunch of pickers than I hung with, right? Well, they really, really are.
But they must have known you.
Well, I'm not so sure because there's an awful lot of musical people in this town, and I can't. I'm not so sure they knew me because they play a whole different genre of music, and I'm not sure that they ever even heard of me. Doesn't matter. What matters is I came in out there and I got in the booth, took my mask off so I could sing. Everybody else is masked up, and I'm isolated in a booth. They say, "Well, what do you want to do first?" And I called off a song. He said, "Well, what key?" I said, "I think I can do it in the same key Hank did." He counted it off, and we recorded it. And we recorded 6 Hank Williams songs in an hour and a half, or maybe 2 hours, less than 3 hours. And I went around and told everybody, "Thank you so much. I appreciate this, yada, yada, yada." Still couldn't see anybody's faces because by that time when I came out of the booth, I had my mask back on. So,
but you got to do what you wanted to do.
I wouldn't know the guys. Most of them, I know some of them because I've worked with a fiddle player before. He's played on some more of my records. All these guys, well, as you can hear on the record, are absolute genius in the genre. Anyway, I walked out of the studio and outside, everybody was outside, but now I get a little sun. And I went around and said, "I sure do appreciate you guys doing this. Thank you so much, yada, yada, yada," and left. And I was back home and had all this done. and was talking with Kevin about it. See, you don't even have to mix this because there's really nothing to mix. It's just guys playing live right then and there, recorded in the act.
Yeah. And I'm going to count how many.
Which is the way, and we did. Well, Wendy just handed me something and kicked a thought out of my head. But
It's your producer.
Anyway, that was the quickest recording session I've ever been to, and we got all that music in just a short period of time. And then I started going out there with. I started telling Kevin. Kevin, when he first started playing with me 20 years ago, one of our conversations was, one of these days I want to do a Hank Williams record. And so then I started going out there. I decided I want to make a record of music from the people that got me going on this in the first place. Mm-hmm. And that was surely Hank Williams was one of them, and we had him done. I wanted to do songs that moved me then and move me now in the same way they did then. And so I started picking old songs that I loved growing up. And we did a couple of Ray Charles renditions. They weren't, I won't call them Ray Charles songs because he didn't write them, but his arrangements. Yeah. We took his arrangements, did 2 Ray Charles songs. I did 4 songs that I had written, 2 of them Hank Williams style, but songs I wrote, but played with the Hank Williams group, that instrumentation and all. And we ended up in the last 3 months with 19 songs we've recorded. Mm. And I'm just astounded that we did that. But when you got Kevin McKendry and Yates McKendry at your disposal, you can do anything. I don't give a shit what it is. Musically, they can get it done better than anybody else I know. So I've had access to these guys.
So this record kind of ended up being, your tribute to all the people that help you get there, and it comes out in May. So there's a lot of metaphors that we could go through, but.
Well, I'm calling it outdated emotion because to me that's what it is. It's things that little things in these songs. Well, I'm a word freak. I'm a lyric freak. I love lyrics, and I'll beat a word up or a line up for a week or 2 weeks or a month to get it right. Mm-hmm. I'll put it down and leave it alone for a year and revisit it and make it better. And it always works. It ain't what you eat, but the way how you chew it. That's another song I wrote that I really feel that way, If you want something bad enough and you know you can do it, well, then all that's left is to do it. And along the way, you're going to hurt people. You're going to get hurt. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fuck up. You're going to have regrets. You're going to have memories you wish you could forget. But it comes with the lunch, man,
That's how you broke that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I keep looking down because I wrote by hand in my crappy handwriting, the pleasure was worth the pain. And that line, and I've been reading your lyrics, and that line has just stuck with me after some failed relationships that my family and friends know about, and some failed businesses and some successful ones. I'm with you, and you're going to go through a lot of that stuff's going to get broken, but you come out the other end and hopefully day by day, more successful and happier.
Well, I've got the world with a tail, man. Bottom line, I do. I have done what I wanted to do. With this last record I did, I got everything the way I wanted it, including my performance. I had a heart attack, not a heart attack, I had heart surgery about, 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And my singing voice got 100% better after surgery. And I cannot tell you why. And I know what's better and what's not. And I got better. I got things lined up noticeably. And I got a whole nother shot at it after having heart surgery. And in my opinion, made the best records I've ever made after heart surgery.
That's amazing. Well, Delbert, I appreciate all the time here. I appreciate the stories and the wisdom and the breaking and the making and the love. You guys have shown us love. And I think it's important to be vulnerable for my guests, with my audience, because everybody else is going through something. And you guys showed us a hell of a lot of love, and we will never, ever forget you.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad that we could be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being a part of how I broke that. Thank you very much.
No, man, thank you for thinking of me.
Yeah.
Thanks. I appreciate getting to be a part of it.
Thanks for listening. Next time on How I Broke That.
Delbert McClinton is a man of many experiences. He's been a breaker all of his life, and I'm honored that he was a guest on How I Broke That and to have him in my life. No matter where you are in life or business, this man's story is filled with lessons, inspiration, and motivation to go on and always break for the better.